and welcome to the Divorce Discussions. I'm Angie Weber, the director of the Divorce Support Collective. And at the collective, our mission is to reimagine the process of divorce through collaboration and support from contemplation to thriving post decree. And we are excited to bring you another episode of Divorce Discussions, where we sit down with professionals who are helping individuals navigate divorce with confidence, clarity, and care. Our goal here today is to inspire, educate, and empower you. And I'm so excited to be joined by Nanette Murphy. She is a dedicated life and reinvention coach for women over 40 and understands the unique challenges that come with navigating life after divorce. Having experienced her own healing journey and growth after a 25-year marriage, she has spent the last decade transforming her pain into purpose. Now, Nanette's mission is to empower women to prepare for the divorce process, gain essential knowledge, and ultimately thrive in their new lives. She walks alongside her clients, offering support, guidance, and a compassionate ear as they heal, grow, and rediscover their true selves. Together, her and her clients will turn this challenging chapter into a powerful opportunity of reinvention and fulfillment. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today, Nanette.
Hi, Angie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm always eager to share my words of wisdom and encouragement on this sort of platform and really spread the message that divorce coaches exist.
Yes, absolutely. And that is one of our goals at the Divorce Support Collective as well, is to help individuals with different types of support. Because when you go through a divorce, you don't just need your lawyer or just your financial person. There is a large group of people that can kind of become your A team and help support and guide you. And I'm also very excited to help people become aware that there is support like divorce coaches out there like yourself. Now, I would love to start out this conversation with just learning a little bit more about your journey, because as I said in the intro, you went through a divorce after a 25-year marriage. So how has that healing journey shaped your life and what you're doing now?
Wow, it has helped me become the woman I am today. I am certainly nothing like I used to be. Not that she wasn't wonderful, but this version of me is, I say, spectacular, courageous, and determined. I want to say, Angie, after 25 years of marriage, together with my ex for 30 years, that's a lifetime in itself.
Yeah.
And it was not an easy journey. It was a struggle. A friend of mine we went through the same thing at the same time, and we always said, it was the blind leading the blind. We didn't know anything about divorce. And so now, it happened. We had to thrive. We had to survive in order to thrive. And I've just learned so much since then. And the biggest learning curve was discovering that divorce coaches existed.
Mm.
And that was back in 2021. And I always wondered, why did I not know that divorce coaches existed? How did I not know this? And I kind of determined on my own that it was because I Googled how to save my marriage. I
Mm.
did not Google how do I divorce,
Mm.
because society tells you, well, you need a good attorney. Make sure they're a good attorney. Make sure they're going to fight for you. And I did all that. I had a financial advisor, but they didn't guide me divorce. They helped me with my finances. It was a high net worth divorce. So I did that correctly. But I didn't have a CDFA. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have I had a therapist, but I've learned that therapists help you with your past.
Mm.
We help you through today and on that journey. And then the recovery or the healing, oh my goodness, that was a one step forward, two steps back. So now, and that's truly what led me to be, do what I am doing, because the necessity is so important. And someone has recently tagged it a couple times as, we're a lifeline.
Mm.
We are truly a lifeline. And it's, especially the women that I coach, they're always fearful of the extra cost.
Mm. Mhm.
And what they don't realize, and that I try to educate them on, is we're going to save you money. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it is. We don't charge $500 an hour. We don't charge for every 15 minutes of texting or emailing. that's not part of what we charge. So, it's a journey, just bringing awareness to people, and like platforms like yourself, that it just I have to take the time and do it because it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of that. With my own business as well, I'm also a parent coach as well who helps co-parents. And so, something that I love about the work that I do, and then of course in the divorce field, meeting so many amazing people, it's that a lot of the times it's our own journeys and our own healing process that really lead us to what we want to do and what we're passionate about. And a lot of us turn it into some type of business based on our life experience. And one of my favorite question slash quote that someone had once said at a networking event to me as I was building the beginning part of my business said, "What if your biggest misery was your greatest ministry?" And I think that really speaks to why so many people in the divorce field are passionate about what they're doing. Because, like you said, you didn't know what you didn't know. And you're right, a lot of people, we go through therapy, marriage therapy, individual therapy to try, kind of uncover the past and really figure it out what got us to where we are now. But we also need those people who are going to figure out, here I am. And how am I going to get to this next chapter, especially when it feels so hard? You're really kind of going through the thick of it. And like you said, you were just trying to survive, but how do I thrive in that other chapter?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And I also love how you said, a lot of people are concerned about the cost because as soon as you hear I mean, honestly, it's like when you have a baby or a marriage, like things get a lot more expensive when they put those words in front of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With a divorce, that can be the same feeling of like, oh, this is going to be so expensive. How am I ever going to pay for something that might feel a little bit more like a luxury versus a necessity? But
Right.
because divorce is so much emotion, you're right, you do end up saving people money because if you're utilizing your lawyer as your divorce coach, you're going to be paying a whole heck of a lot more. So,
And I
so
know that firsthand. Firsthand, yes.
so I am so excited that you're able to be a support system for people. So I know that you specifically like to work with women who are like 40s or older. So what would you say is some of the biggest misconceptions they have about figuring out what does my life look like after a divorce?
Yeah, so two of the biggest concerns is usually the children, because it's interesting. People think, oh, because if they're adults, they'll handle it better.
Mm.
No, no, they don't necessarily. And ultimately, their financial future is what scares women specifically the most, specifically in that age group, because we're of the generation that often women don't know much, if anything, about their finances. Some women are 40, 50, 60. I have a client who's 70 years old, and they don't always know about their finances. So it really scares them. So it's really becoming now an education
Yeah.
on understanding it all. But again, if they have someone to talk to about it and go through it step by step, if the first person I send my clients to is a financial advisor, and but that emotional side of it, so they're understanding their finances, what they can afford, what they can consider. So many women want to keep the house, they want to keep that marital home because it has so many memories attached to it. Ultimately, even if they can afford it, I secretly hope that they don't choose to keep the marital home,
Mm.
because let go of those, let you don't let go of the memories, but let go of those four walls that you're going to be sitting in all of those old memories all the time. Every time you walk into a room, it's not always good memories flooding back. So I'm really encouraging women to start fresh, like really wipe the slate clean. Also, that emotional side, it's hard to get out of denial. One of my clients is working with an attorney that I know, and one of the things he said to me when we talked about it after, he's like, one of the first things he noticed was that heavy emotional side of someone going through a divorce. It wasn't removed, but it was definitely alleviated because we had already had 6 sessions together. We had already gotten through and kind of worked through that heavy, hard part. So, you know, again, finances and kids are the biggest concern.
Yeah. And as you kind of touched on in your own story too, really trying to find that new version of yourself can be challenging,
Mhm.
especially after a 25-year marriage. Trying to reinvent yourself and step out and find this new identity can be really hard. And I think it's really important for people to know that it's okay to outgrow the old version of ourselves, the versions of ourselves that made other people comfortable but
Mhm.
didn't really live up to the potential who we are. And of course, that can bring, when you're talking just about your ex, but also it might be other people in your life too that are like, whoa, wait a minute, she got this divorce and now she's changing all of a sudden. Um,
Yeah.
what tip or suggestion would you give to those women who are trying to find their next chapter, as far as it is of how do I find this new version of me if others don't necessarily appreciate it around me?
Well, first of all, you have to learn to put yourself first. Number one, your self-care, your mental stability, all of that has to be number one. And in that journey, you will lose people that you thought were really good friends and turned out maybe they were just there for a little while. But the biggest challenge, I think people in general, but specifically women that I coach, is finding like, what do I do now? How do I, and it's being curious, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and like thinking outside the box, try new things, or go back to a passion that you used to have that you'd almost forgotten about.
Mhm.
Like bring all of that back in. And by, joining groups or taking a class, you meet new people, you make new friends. It's just like moving to another city. You have to find your new people.
Mhm.
And how do you do that? You have to get out there. You have to put yourself out there. And it's often very uncomfortable, but we can do it. And I only say that I never recommend people do something that I've not done before because I, never wanted to try new things, didn't want to make a fool of myself. Now I don't care. It's like worst thing that can happen is, all right, well, I didn't do that very well. I might have to try something something new. I'm not sure if that just comes with, growing or aging, but it doesn't matter. You don't know what you can do if you don't try.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And sometimes we do need to make fools of ourselves. So, um,
Absolutely. Laugh at yourself.
exactly, as scary as it is sometimes, but again, that's what someone like yourself can help clients do is find that confidence and that courage and really go out there and branch out to try new things or revert back again to some of those old passions that maybe you lost along the way. Because I think in any situation as we get older as adults, we do think back of like, oh wait, I really used to like doing that, and then I was too focused on my career or my kids or my marriage, and if that's not around anymore, now you have time to go back to those passions that you had. Now,
Yeah.
as we kind of wrap up here, Nanette, I know that we've talked a lot about having this A team, having these people in our corner, and there's so many different ones. You already mentioned a few, obviously yourself as a divorce coach. You talked a lot about a financial advisor. Of course, attorneys or mediators are in there as well. Is there anyone else that women who are either in the process or maybe after the divorce that they should be looking to kind of have as a part of their village or their tribe to help support them through this process?
Yeah, well, even if someone's looking for that what's next stage, they didn't have a divorce coach and they didn't do all of that, that's something that I do with my clients. That's why I'm also I say a life reinvention coach. Let's let's discover this together. I can challenge my clients and, find out what their interests were. Um, of course, sometimes we have to have that therapy. We have to continue with therapy. Something I do is I have a rebuilding program is what they call it. It's a workshop, but it's helping you heal mentally from all of that because just because those papers are signed doesn't mean everything is all rosy. Like you really do have to continue with those professionals. You might have to continue with your financial advisor to help them along, help you, guide you through the next phases of life because people are living a lot longer.
Mhm.
And we have to realize that we've got a lot of living to do. So make sure that you've got, you might need that parenting coach. It's something I wished I would have had. Again, didn't know they existed. The kids would have benefited from it. But that's why when when you talk with your coaches, they can give you referrals and resources and books to read. Um, yeah, it's and also too, the other thing that talked to people about is maybe you have special needs children.
Mhm.
There are special needs coaches specifically for divorce.
Yeah.
The list is long. The list is long of what's available to you. And you don't need all 12 of them, but you may need four of them. But you don't know until you talk to somebody. And I mean, wrap this up by saying people, when you go through a divorce, it's a fog that
Mhm.
you're living in. You're you're not thinking clearly. Things that made sense before don't make sense anymore. So you really want to have someone to talk to that can like give you a different spin on it, look at it differently, and you know, bring new questions to light that you never thought of.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of the information today. And you're right. Like, again, as we already mentioned, we don't know what we don't know. And honestly, going to Google is not always the most helpful because we can get lost in rabbit holes
Yeah.
and feel more confused than we were at the very beginning. So I'm glad that there are people like you out there helping people navigate that. And of course, at the Divorce Support Collective, that is our goal as well, is to gather amazing professionals that can help guide through for many different areas of divorce, because it's not just about getting those papers signed. It is really what is that time afterwards, and how are you going to start the next chapter of your life with the best foot forward and help you thrive through it. So again, Nanette, thank you so much for spending your time. I know you have so much more to share. So for you viewers who are watching and want to learn more, definitely head to the caption and you're going to be able to get connected with her on social media and check everything out that she has to offer and continue this conversation. And of course, make sure you keep your eyes out for more episodes of the divorce discussions coming up soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Angie.